So that took us into the youngest Mr. Money to Make in history, Fury, facing off against the almighty Bobby Lashley for the United States title.
Now, I scored this match very low, and I was a bit disappointed, to say the least. I expected to see a lot more. You know, you got the youngest Money in the Bank and US champion in WWE history. You know, Theory attacks Lashley before the bell. You know, there's no doubt he's a star in the making and all of the rest of it. But I thought it'll be interesting to see which way they take the match, given that he's been extremely vocal for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever, that, you know, he's going to come and cash out on the winner of the main event, which he sort of did, but we'll talk about that later. But to have that match end like it did in the time frame it did, I just thought it was quite a disappointing match. I mean, it keeps Lashley up there. He's in, contention now, and he's still very much top spot sort of thing. But I thought it was a crappy match.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with you there. I think they're in two worlds at the moment, WWE and booking and creative and that. Is that we know what happens in the main, right?
Yeah.
So without going into that too far in the show,
yeah,
who's the next guy to go up against the current champion? So if you murder Lashley in this, you've lost the golden goose.
Hey,
you've got to keep him looking strong. So someone in that match had to go down in flames, and the guy they've been pushing for the last 6 months is the guy that's gone down in flames.
Yeah, but would you shoot him down like that quick, and that, which made me think there was going to be a whole heap of action for him in the main, you know? And while there was a bit, and we'll talk about it later, as we said, he was probably the biggest loser on the night.
Oh, it's difficult. It's hard. Yeah, he was. I think he's lost a lot of status. 100%. Yeah,
he's ended up with nothing.
The thing is he's got time.
Yeah, I understand.
I think that's why they've done what they've done. Right? Sucks for him. I'm not saying it's good.
Killed his 6-month program.
Yeah, it sucks for him. I'm not saying it doesn't. It does, right? But and I'm not making excuses for him here. No. But Lashley's in his 40s.
Yes.
Right? How much longer has he got?
Yeah, no, very true.
Right. So we need to get as much money out of him. If I was on their booking team, how much money can I make out of Lashley before he breaks a chicken wing or something and he's done? Right? That's what you've got to look at, right? There's nobody else with the current champion. I won't mention who it is at the moment because I don't want to spoil the main event. But the current champion, there's nobody left really to go up against him.
No.
Like McIntyre, which is the next guy that's meant to go up in Wales.
Yes.
They've burnt him for the last 2 years. He hasn't got much value as far as being a real contender.
But he'll go over in Wales.
Against, do you reckon?
I got no doubt. There'll be it'll be he'll
be
go
a swerve
over.
Finish.
He'll go over, but it'll be some sort of swervy finish, or he'll win by disqualification or counter. There'll be something, but they can't let him in his home country, in his hometown, not go over. But I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. I don't think the title will change hands, but he'll get the win.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is you've got a guy that they've basically butchered for 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. In his run. Right. They gave him the heavyweight champion during COVID.
Yeah.
And they took it off him via Lashley at WrestleMania.
Mm.
And then has done nothing with him for 2 years.
Not really.
Right. They've given him to Sheamus and guys like that. That's not a number one contender for the current championship. He got lucky and won a match to get that position, right? It's not like he's earned it. The fans feel that he's the guy that go up against it or anything like that, right? And other than that, who else is there? Orton's out. Orton would be a potential, but Orton's out. Right? Who else? They're running low on names.
Well, yeah, it depends, obviously, who they bring in now or who
Rex Steiner's at least a year or two away from being in that position.
Yeah, you couldn't put him in the...
Yeah, too early yet. the only feasible guy that I see in the rosters is two: is Owens and Lashley.
Well, did you notice how much they, like nearly every ad break was all about Kevin Owens and the Kevin Owens show? And I mean, he got more promo time and ads than anybody I've seen, for ages. Virtually after every match, there was that huge, and it wasn't just a quick one, like, over a minute or more.
Well, he's the only guy. They're the only two guys off the top of my head that have got the size and the potential to go in there and put on a good series of matches with the current champ for anyone to give a rat's ass.
Owens could definitely do it.
Oh, definitely.
I think he's quite underrated.
Very underrated. Very underrated.
You watch that package they played about, would it be 10 times, Anthony? Something like that, or maybe more. But that package they played, that really, really made you just think, wow, actually, I forgot that. And I thought he was really, really good. And
Seth Rollins has had his go recently, so Seth is not he's not really a guy that's in that framework at the moment. He had his go recently. So it's really, really, really hard. And I think that, unfortunately, Theory, because he's 21, is he?
24.
24, right? There's still plenty of time to regroom.
Cody would
to readdress. Cody, well, that's what we're saying. I think this was meant to be Cody's run.
Yeah, it was.
And maybe I wouldn't be surprised if he had a drop the belt to Cody. Wouldn't have surprised me in this run. It was pretty over, but I think they've left themselves in a position where Cody got injured, right? And then now they're stuck with, well, who we got? Yeah, we got rid of a whole heap of guys recently too. Sent them over. Yeah, you had your Miro's. He was a potential guy that could have been talked about in this situation. Enough size enough. Miro. I forget his name in WWE. But
Rusev.
Yeah, Rusev, right? He had potentiality, right? With size and ability and that kind of thing. So he could have been using. They got rid of a lot of guys with size too. They moved them on.
Although, rumour has it, there are a lot of guys who are now sort of reaching out a little bit to WWE now with the change of direction. And
well, once again, that will all depend on whether how much creative freedom they get in their character too, because most of them left because of lack of creative freedom.
Well, Triple H said publicly, and he's also, I think, tweeted it or whatever, about that he wants buy-in from everybody. I want you to, it needs to be inclusive. You need to be enjoying work. Work needs to be fun again. Saying all those sorts of things. So it sounds like, if you pitched a really good idea, they'll at least listen.
As long as that happens, I think that they'll be all right, because I think that's been the stigma there for a long time. People,
well, that's what he said to all the talent.
Never went across because of that.
Yeah, well, he's saying to all the talent, I want you to pitch your ideas to me. I want you to tell me what you want, what you're thinking. I want the fans to tell us. I want it to be really inclusive. I want to hear everything you're thinking and you're wanting. So it's opened the door. Well, the door's ajar for a little bit of maybe fresh ideas and a wee bit more creative control.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, time will tell, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. This was true. So I think that wraps up that match.
Yeah, what do you give it?
I gave it a 5.
I went 4.
I gave it a 5.
Anthony?
Yeah, I went 5 as well.
Okay, I was very disappointed for a championship match. But anyway,